And we are live in Anoka.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gathering Paracast. And we are live on location. My name is Heidi.
And I'm Stephanie. And yeah, we are live. It's a little bit windy out, so the camera is probably going to shake a little bit. But we are in Anoka, Minnesota, which is known to be the Halloween capital of the world, right? It's also very paranormally active.
It is.
I mean, everything I've ever investigated out here has been crazy active. And the Rum River that runs through it is actually known as Spirit River by the natives.
And it connects to the Mississippi, which is not far from here at all, which is why it was such a hub for and it still is, for so long, because of the waterways that connect so many parts of not just Minnesota, but the country.
Yeah.
So it's
very cool.
It's a very cool place. And cool. I've investigated here. I've probably investigated with all the classes that I've taught here, I would say at least 75 times.
Oh my goodness. See?
At least 75 times. And it's always, something is always going on.
Always. And I remember a few years back, you and Kristen and I did a seance at the Big White House. And we were talking about that. Maybe we can do a show from there. We'll see.
We thought maybe we'd go back there.
Yes. But that seance was something else, man. Yeah. They were coming from all over to come and see us and talk to us. So it would be a good place to have a show.
Yep.
Anyway, so shall we start this out? I have a deck. This is my deck. My good friend Deborah gave it to me from Washington. It's Magical Messages from the Fairies, which I am of the Fae. Let's put it that way. So this is very meaningful for me. So you tell me when to stop. We're just going to do the opposite this time. I'll shuffle and then you tell me when.
Okay.
All right, top card. See what it says. Whom do you need to forgive? As you release old anger or resentment, you will find your wishes will come true. Oh, that's interesting.
That's good. So everybody out there, think about forgiveness. And again, it's never like, forgiveness is never like a must do, but sometimes it helps us release the energy out of our own bodies. And so
for sure,
something to think about.
And it's a beautiful card. It shows really an angel and with the light coming through, and then probably the person that needs to forgive. So it's gorgeous. So from the Fae, whom do you need to forgive?
So think about that as you're moving through your week and into the weekend. Forgiveness
is divine.
So it's a little noisy out here. We're kind of Anoka. I'm sure back in the day this was out in the country. This was probably a day's drive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Or horse ride or something from Minneapolis. Now it is. So this cemetery is huge. First of all, so we're in cemetery, Cornerstone Cemetery. It's a huge cemetery. And if you've been to Anoka, there's a couple of very large cemeteries here. And so I chose one that was kind of out of the mix, but clearly it's still in the mix. Everything's in the mix in Anoka.
Yeah.
So the town grew around the cemetery. This cemetery is actually a little bit smaller, I think, than that other cemetery, and has less graves in it. And this cemetery alone has over 3,100 graves in it. And they're adjusting to add for people who are cremated. So they've made space. We keep making more and more space. So it's going to be quite the place. But it's just a cool energy. And I think when we're talking about investigating too, I like going, not being disrespectful, but going to a place that, you have some room to move around, you're outdoors, and you could do some investigating. And it doesn't mean that we're going to talk to anybody that's here. Most people aren't attached to the place they were buried. So I'm not worried about being disrespectful to the people. I would not be here if there were families here visiting their loved ones. But it's a good place to investigate and just see if there's anybody out here, that might be from around somewhere else that wants to come over here and see what's going on. So
exactly. And
it's a good place to investigate.
It is a good place to investigate. And I haven't done, I don't think any cemeteries, to be honest, except the one up by Virginia. the Buell Cemetery, which crazy active.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, get out of the car and there's stuff going on. But so this one is, we just thought that it's a beautiful cemetery.
It's really pretty.
And
even though there's like a highway there, there's a ball field there.
Yeah.
But it's like the headstones and the monuments here are
gorgeous.
Really
They're gorgeous.
beautiful.
And a lot of these people lived and died in the 1800s, early 1900s, so.
Yeah, this cemetery started in 1890 and it's still open for people to be buried here. The cemetery that's next door, I was telling Stephanie earlier that one actually closed to burials in 1950. That's how long ago it filled up. And it's a huge cemetery.
It is. It's just passed away. Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of people are buried there, and it closed in 1950. That's how many people passed even back then. So
absolutely.
But we thought we'd do a little investigating just to see if there's anything going on out here. So we have some equipment set up. What do you have with you, Steph?
I have a millimeter and I have a couple of K2 meters on the ground over there. So if anything passes by, they'll light up. A lot of the things that we utilize will not work well for this because, like our ghost box. No, you know what I mean?
It'd be hard to hear.
We get a lot of answers for that.
Yeah.
But, so this would be just if something comes around. And yes, I know Jason asked a question, so they could be locals. Yeah, they could be locals. Spirits move throughout all spaces at all times, So
yeah,
you never know what you're going to find. And like we said at the big white house, it was like just a long line of spirits that were coming in. It was like we put out a floodlight and said, "Hey, come and talk to us." Remember that? It was crazy. So you never know.
So I put out a couple of pieces of equipment as well. I've got the tripwire, which is kind of strung up along this monument here. And I had to put it up so you guys could see it. And so we could see if anything lights it up because there's 10 lights along it. So basically it's a 10 light K2 meter.
Yeah.
And they're all independent from each other. So that, one could light up. I also have another K2 meter and a flashlight sitting over there. So, if anybody comes along and wants to light it up, we would definitely be able to see it. We'll also get the camera over there and let you know. But I don't know.
Maybe we should bring. I don't know if you can see that tripwire, Jason. Can you see it? Maybe we should bring the camera over. And then we should maybe pan around because it's a really cool place.
It does look really cool, and you can just barely see the trip.
Oh yeah, let's go over here.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn the camera just a second here. See, it's this huge cemetery. I'm just going to turn. You're getting the 360.
360.
Right? It's huge. So anyway, we're going to move it over closer here so you guys can see the tripwire.
So here's the tripwire, and we use these a lot in paranormal investigating. Like Heidi said, it's just like a wire with multiple K2 meters on it. Which there's a K2. Oh, well, it could just be this. Oh yeah, that's exactly.
So you got to move it further away from the phone because. Here's the thing with when you're doing paranormal investigating.
Yeah.
If you have a cell phone, everybody asks, do you use a cell phone when you investigate? No, I don't. And anyone that has a cell phone, you put it on airplane mode. Ideally, you just turn it off.
Yep.
You just don't even use it.
Yeah.
If you have a smartwatch or anything else that sends and receives, just shut it all off. That's it, because you're going to get a false positive like that, and you're going to think, "Oh wow, we've got something," and you don't have anything.
Yeah.
So turn all your stuff off. So it's got a range, I would say, about 5 feet, right? As soon as you get about 5 feet away from your phone, you're probably okay. But I'd say still turn it off.
Yeah.
But we can't turn off my phone because
we're on.
So,
and the interesting thing about K2 meters, and I don't know if we've talked about this, Heidi, before, but 3 people can all have a K2 meter, and maybe only one will get the craziness that happens.
Yep.
So, because the spirit is with them. But so it is weird. And we always have multiple K2 meters always going during an investigation.
Well, because it is interesting if you've got 2 K2 meters sitting right next to each other and only one of them is going. lighting up, then why would that be? If it's picking up electromagnetic field energy,
Yeah,
they should all be lighting up
They
if they're
should.
within the same proximity. So
it should.
it's very
The trees are talking to us. They're speaking, but the trees.
the
So
trees are talking to us.
trees are kind of my thing. And there's this tree here. Okay, I gotta show you this. This is the coolest tree. Look at how it's bent like that. Can you see that? It's like just very cool. I just had to point that out because I'm a tree girl. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much going on here. But this is just another example of, beautiful on location Minnesota.
Yeah.
Which we think is so fun. Are there some questions? I can't see. Let's look. That is super cool. Are you talking about the tree? I'm guessing.
Probably.
It is very cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, that is a super cool tree.
It is. And it's just kind of,
Yeah. It'd be interesting. And I know, like, I am not going to be a rule breaker or whatever, but because most cemeteries you have to leave at dusk, right?
Yeah.
They close at dusk or 10 o'clock, whatever season, I guess. But, so I would not, but I would love to be here at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just see what happens.
Yeah. Because I've been in some cemeteries, and I think, like, most cemeteries aren't great. They're not terribly active, but when you go at night, I think with the quiet, it gives spirit room to move. And so even if we're not from the area, and two, we've investigated places just outdoors and ended up having communication with the trees and
Absolutely.
and stuff. So it's not to say that, we couldn't come out here. It's just the time of day that we do our show is kind of a little tricky.
It's not very conducive to paranormal investigating.
But it's a good place to practice. When I teach classes, I'm like, hey, if you want to go to a cemetery, just be respectful and don't do it while, like, people are grieving. Like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's a good place to just,
to hang and use use all your equipment so you know how to use it. And it's just a cool place.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, I got to go over here and touch
I
this
haven't
tree.
seen anything lighting up here.
No.
But you never know. Someone might stop by.
Oh, good energy.
The tree. Yeah. Sorry about the siren.
She's a
Get
survivor.
louder for a second. It's coming this way.
She's a survivor. Oh, and now we have sirens going on. I know last week our show had a lot of that too. You would think that Minnesota was just riddled with them. I hardly ever hear one, to be honest. So I don't know why during our show. I know.
Outdoors. Yeah.
That's a super cool hoodie you got, Stephanie. That sim crew.
Oh, my sim crew hoodie. I know. We did it they did it 3 times for whatever reason. So I thought it was kind of cool. It's the only one.
You have to make
another I'm still wearing my work clothes.
What?
You'll have to make another batch of those.
I know. I like them too. I think they're cool. It's just kind of I don't know why he did this one, but I love it. I think it's cool. So anyway, do you have any questions? Are there any comments, Jason?
No, not so far. We've got, we've got the usual salutations and such, but we don't have any specific questions from people.
Okay. All right.
Well, we just wanted to give you the scoop on investigating cemeteries and how, it can be helpful if you want to practice using equipment. You can be outside, talk to anybody that wants to come in from wherever they're from, or even the trees.
Yeah.
But it's a good place to practice using your equipment. And then you just say, if there is anything here, you can't come home with me.
Right.
Make sure that you're
right.
If there is anything, you're not taking it with you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. And
can we see those K2 meters? Can we see
those? There's one. This is my orange one because I'm crazy about the color orange. And this is a Mel meter, which mine doesn't have the K2 meter. I think you have one that has yours is different than mine.
Yeah, it's got the K2 meter, and I have one that has a REM pod in it.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yep. So this is just the regular first cut Mel meters,
which I have.
Had it for a while.
I've had one. I have one of those too. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like them. And then my K2 over there, you plug into the wall. So you charge up the battery. So you don't have to keep buying batteries for it, which is so awesome, right? All the equipment should have that now.
even rechargeable batteries don't work very well.
No,
It's just nice to have the plug-in stuff nowadays.
Yep, I agree.
I don't see anything with a tripwire. We had the tripwire going last week. We were in Anoka here. We had a tripwire going, and it was all purple. So all those little purple lights there, that's the tripwire. And we were asking, if there was anybody here, and we knew there was someone here, and it was like a mile that way. We weren't even that far from where we're at now. And one of the lights, so what we did is we were in a classroom, and we laid the tripwire out, and it was along a whiteboard. And so each light had a number over it and a word that they could use to talk.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so that was fun. And then the one that they were lighting up, we said, what are you called? And we had different names for like spirit, entity, ghost, whatever.
Yeah.
And it kept lighting up ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. And it turned red. And then we said, could you turn another one red? And one by one, each one eventually turned red until they were all lit up red, and they stayed that way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I wish that would happen here so everybody could see, but we don't have signs here, unfortunately.
Well, I think could if there was anybody here. I mean, there's just nobody here.
Yeah,
So,
that could be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is still daylight, sun is shining. There's all kinds of sirens going on.
not yet. Not now anyway.
Anyway.
So we're going to keep journeying through the Twin Cities.
Yes.
As much as we can throughout the summer, except for our paranormal smorgasbord, which is
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now.
So next week, are we going to do the Stone Arch Bridge?
Yeah.
Right. So
hopefully it's not under construction.
I'm going to go look. I'll go look this weekend.
We're going to see where we can go for next week. Somewhere probably in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But
closer.
Yeah. But this is it's fun to get out into some of these other areas.
It is. And then we'll be doing some also that are just, maybe what we'll do is we'll do the video, and then maybe we'll just get on for a minute before we show the video,
because some of it we're not going to be able to do at night. It's too hard to get there after work.
So because traffic here is horrific these days. So
yeah.
But anyway, is there anything else we want to talk about paranormal investigating since we're here and we have all this stuff?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Just people walking.
I know, there's people here. So. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, who's ever watching, and thank you for coming along to us to another fantastic location in Minnesota.
Yes. And if you're interested in tuning in, go to our YouTube channel, which is under YouTube, the Gathering Paracast. You can follow us there. We've got all of our videos there that we've done before. And tune in next week for our next adventure. And Jason, thank you so much, our amazing producer, for pulling this together this week.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Have a good week. Make it a good one.
Awesome. Good night, everybody.